So while discussing with a couple of people in the last 2 weeks or so, something kept coming up and I just thought to bring the discussion online. And it's about submission. I feel like submission is going to be a perennial issue with women. It's going to always be something that we're always going to be discussing. From a biblical point of view, and this is what the Bible has to say about things. It says, let the older women teach the younger women to love their husbands, to be keepers at home, to love their children and all that. In Titus 2:4. So one day I sat down and I started thinking about that scripture. What does it actually mean? Let the older women teach the younger women. And I now started to wonder, teach them what? Teach them to love their husbands, teach them to love their children, teach them to be keepers at home. And like, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so I tell them, love your children, love your husband, be keepers, keep your home and all that. But I realized that if you're going to teach someone something, it means there's a skill to it. There's a way to navigate it. It's not just as simple as saying, ladies, love your husbands, love your children, be keepers at home. It's not that simple. There's a navigation to it. And I now started to wonder, why does it need such intricacies? Why is that admonition going for the women alone? And I realized something that I'm going to be sharing here, which is that our position is very, very delicate and very, very unique. Let me put it that way. We are full-grown adults, capable of taking care of ourselves, capable of doing everything. And the way God ordered it, He made it so that in a family, man is the head, then the woman, and then the children, something like that. It says a man is the head of the home. And the Bible is unequivocal about that. It's clear. It doesn't, try to mask that, or it doesn't try to sugarcoat that. It's clear. So that's what makes the position of a woman unique. You are this full-grown adult, and you are marrying another full-grown adult. And you're supposed to take all that independence, all that freedom, all that your uniqueness, all that your intellect, everything, and submit it under a man. And that's where the problem lies. So from discussions I had, the matter came up and someone said, I don't even want to hear that word submission again. I don't want to hear it. I think it's just a word that is used to, suffocate women. And many women have gone astray because of that word. They don't even want to hear it. And I don't blame anybody for not wanting to hear it, because a lot has gone wrong in the name of submission. But one thing I know is that God did not institute anything bad. God looked at everything He created and He said that it was good. So I want to talk a little about submission today. Maybe in subsequent videos, I'll also talk about it a bit more. So the first thing I'm going to say is that there are many issues that start before the problems come. There are many choices. There are many decisions that we make as women long before we need to take them. We just don't realize the impact of the decisions that we're making. What I mean is this. You've already put yourself inside a decision. You've locked yourself into a decision. And by the time you start making choices, the decision you made a long time back has already affected or limited the kind of choices that you can make. Submission is one of those issues. So the issues with women, most of the issues with women don't come up when the woman is single or when she has to stay by herself. That's not the issue. It comes up when women have to relate with men, especially in marriage. That is where most of women's problems are. The decision of who to marry is one of the most delicate decisions we make as a woman or as a human being at all. It is life-defining. It is life-changing, life-altering. It can make or mar your life. And I've spoken about this in a previous video, I believe, but I'm just hammering it today. Because in making a decision on who to marry, what you are actually looking at or looking for is a man that you can submit to. So what you're actually saying is that this is the man I choose to submit to. It means that you are willing to trust that if push comes to shove, I can trust this man's decisions. I can trust that he will take us the right way. That's what you're saying. Can you really say so about the man you're married to? Can you really say so about the man you are in a relationship with? That if push comes to shove and this man has to make a decision for all of us, I can trust that he'll make the best decision. That is what the issue of submission is about. We do submission every day, but the problems only come up in marriage. We do submission at work when you have a boss, and ultimately the buck stops at your boss's table. He or she has to decide which direction the organization is going to go or the work is going to flow. They have to take a decision on behalf of everybody, no matter what anybody feels. No matter how much you argue, no matter how much you present your points, it's at the point where there's a disagreement or there is a divergence in opinions that person now has to make the final decision. The issue of submission doesn't come up when you can't afford to make a choice. No. Some women are not submitting. They're just accepting because they don't have a choice. So they're going along. The husband says, don't do this. They can't do it because they don't have the money anyway. This is money. Some women are not submitting. What they think is submission is just acceptance because they don't have a choice. They think they're submitting, but in actual fact, they're not submitting because they agreed with the decision in the first place. So your husband wants to move to Lagos, you want to move to Lagos, and you're like, yeah, jolly well, let's go. That's not submission, that's agreement. The issue of submission really, really comes into play when there is a divergence in opinions, when he thinks this way, you think that way, and you're saying, okay, I accept that we will do whatever you say is best. I'm not talking about sinful opinions where one is outrightly wrong and one is outrightly right. That's not where the problems are. When something is wrong, your husband cannot tell you to commit murder and you commit murder, you're going to get into trouble. That's different. But where it's a matter of good and better, or better and best, or, two good opinions really, and it's hard to make a choice, that's where the issue of submission comes in. And what you're saying is, where I have to submit to this guy, can I trust that he will make the right decisions? Can I trust that he will handle it right? That's really what it is. Now, if you didn't think about that before you got into a relationship or before you got married to this guy and you're now in it, you'll find out that you'll be butting heads all the time. You'll be at loggerheads often because this guy, you don't trust him. Either that, or he always takes decisions that favor only him. He never puts you or anyone else into consideration. And so you'll find out that those are where the issues are. The issues are not when, he has to make the final decision and once in a while he decides what favors him. No, it's clear that every single time this guy is not putting you into consideration or taking you into consideration when he's making the decision, or he's making very flippant decisions. Those are the problems. Those are the issues. You can't trust his decision-making process. That's where the issue of submission really, really comes up. And here's the thing. That was not the way God wanted it. That, just marry any man, just submit. No. You have a choice. So the issue comes up mostly when you've made the wrong choice. The question is now, if I've made the wrong choice, am I stuck with this forever? Must I endure his bad decision making for the rest of my life? Those are the questions that you need to ask. And I think I'll go deeper into that in my next video. But one thing I want you to understand is that there is always wisdom for every situation. I promise you that. I remember in, 2 videos ago or so, I spoke about the 18th Camel principle, where I spoke about conflict resolution. There's something called the 18th Camel principle. There's always a unique perspective to look at things and a way to deal with things that will create the least amount of tension. Moreover, as a woman, you must develop a very strong sense of emotional intelligence and self-awareness for you to be able to handle matters with the utmost wisdom. You cannot afford to respond or react emotionally to everything. You must look at things and decide on a way forward before responding to a situation. You don't react, you respond. Responding means you choose how you want to act. You think carefully, you choose, and you decide on the best way forward that will get you the results that you want. Remember, it's not about manipulation, because that's what a lot of women resort to. It's about wisdom, and it exists. Maybe I'll talk a bit more about that in my next video. I just came here to say that submission is not a word that is meant to subjugate you and kill you and knock you down and make you a doormat. No. Submission is just a way to make sure that things run smoothly. No organization or anything living runs well with two heads. The buck has to stop at somebody's table. When we set up boards for our organizations, we make sure that it's either we have somebody who breaks the tie or we have an odd number of people. But in a marriage, it's an even number of people. So the buck has to stop at somebody's table. And God, who created us, says that it should stop at the man's table. That's not to put you down as a woman. But we have to understand that it's not submission that has a problem. It's who we choose to submit to and how we choose to submit. So we'll talk a little more about that in our next video. If you take away anything from today's video, remember there's wisdom for every situation. There is a wise solution and a way out of every situation. Please share your thoughts about this topic of submission in the comments below. Remember to like my video, to share it with someone who will find it useful, and definitely subscribe to my channel. In case you didn't know, I run a community called the Brilliant Women's Network, where women connect and share ideas and other interesting activities that can help us thrive. If you'd like to be a part of that community, do click the link in the description below. Till I come your way again next time. Ciao!